Welcome back to part 2 of the lock-in. So, Yasser, here the polar vortex has been hitting America.
Oh yes, this polar vortex is a diabolical freak of nature.
Yeah.
Apparently, in New York, no one seems to know exactly what it is. So Twitter, the Twitterati and Google people have gone mad trying to find out what it actually means.
Yeah.
60,000 people tweeted and Googled solar vortex to find out what it actually is.
Polar vortex.
Polar vortex, even.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you what it actually is, because officially, those of you that don't know, it's a wintry cyclone, like the Wizard of Oz cyclone.
Yeah.
But that's just two different words for polar vortex.
I know, but polar vortex is an official scientific.
So it's a cold, spinny thing.
It's a cold, spinny thing. It's very cold from the Arctic.
Right. So like a polar vortex.
It is, yes.
Right.
It's sort of gone over North America, and temperatures have dropped to -30 in recent weeks.
I thought it was a cleaning product.
Or
And
a spin cycle.
Spanish lime scale with polar vortex.
Some people do think it's a cleaning product.
Sounds very.
Some of the suggestions for what it could be, besides a wintry phenomenon, could be. Some people think it's especially moving Mortal Kombat. You know, Sub-Zero. We push the down right B button.
Right.
Get over here.
Oh, okay.
Probably Americans did.
Hadouken!
Yeah, exactly. Someone thought he was a professional wrestler. Can you believe this?
Hailing from
somewhere like Japan.
from the sky.
Someone like Hakendo Nagasaki, remember him?
Yeah.
Some people think it's a mutant eye cyborg who fights the X-Men.
What?
A mutant cyborg
From the X-Men,
from the X-Men. Now, the Sarah Palin, this silly woman, was once this ridiculously ignoramus of a woman. She was once the governor of Alaska, a potential vice presidential candidate in the last general election. Election. Now, she's told environmentalists and gullible citizens that that polar vortex is actually an endangered species. Looks like a yeti-like anteater with a long tongue. She hasn't said this.
Sounds much less believable when it isn't coming out of a
She's
sexy
not.
mouth.
And she says we must protect the polar vortex from being trapped in snares, as it lives in harmony with the polar bear and the muskox.
The muskox.
And the caribou and Arctic fox. So there's people in Alaska now trying to find the polar vortex, capture it and feed it milk.
What has Palin done?
Milk.
Amazing. But they were telling people on the news to go out and throw boiling water and make snow, and it was amazing.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah,
that went about as well as throwing boiling water up in the air and windy where they can go.
Got scolded, didn't they?
Yeah, about 50 people overnight.
There's a horrendous video of a drunk man in this polar vortex in the middle of this weather, and he pulled over his car to the side of the road to take a piss, froze urinal tract.
Horrible.
Generally, he froze up his urinal tract.
What, so
as in-
as you wee, it freezes.
It froze as soon as he started weeing.
Icicle
There
on
was
the end of your
someone-
willy.
-37.
Well, it's better than having some Swiss cheese on the end of your willy, isn't it?
Oh my God!
Get
Is this
this
a
story.
segue?
Tell us about the Swiss cheese
Oh,
story.
do you know what? It's not even much to say. It's just a nutter. I mean, like, you get people and you just wonder what is going through these people's minds and how this story gets picked up as well. This is the interesting thing. It's not the story itself. It's how journalists, respectable journalists who have these jobs, how they decided to ensnare this man who was basically curb crawling to pick up women. And it wasn't even women of the night. It was curb crawling up to random women who were walking home from nights out or whatever. Yeah, and literally pulling down his trousers. And, you know, I mean, you must have... Right, basically the story was he got caught with a prostitute, and the prostitute was sucking him off, but with cheese, he basically drilled, like American Pie, drilled a hole. Swiss cheese, obviously.
Swiss cheese with a hole in it.
And he put it onto his penis.
Basically put his dick through the Swiss cheese.
I think he's a
Swiss
visionary.
cheese and...
Wait a minute.
Cheesy helmet.
He's trying to make a... I don't know, he's trying to...
But how did she swallow that?
Cheesy what's it?
I don't know, I think she was into burgers.
But don't you uncircumcised men have smegma?
She might have been lactose intolerant.
Oh,
You know.
God.
But to see,
Or you have a yeast infection.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very bad yeast infection if you've got Swiss cheese on
So
your
this guy
end of
was
your
arrested,
penis.
was he?
And he got arrested. But the idea is that journalists got nothing better to do than actually think, we can wire this hooker up and get a hidden camera and find this man.
the mysterious cheese.
And
what happened
mysterious
to this
cheese
man?
Willy Bandit.
Did he get in prison?
He's being charged now. I think he's got a court date. But the point is just the maniacalness of this story is for a journalist to go, not much on, is there, these days? Well, even though there is. There's
That's
not much
some
on.
guy that says,
Yeah.
what have you got to eat in here? Well, we've got, oh, I haven't been shopping recently.
He
Oh,
must
I've
be
got cheese
single,
and a
crop
penis.
single.
He has Candida. That's what he has.
He's Candida.
By Voltaire, Candida. Yes. That's more intellectual reference there, which people might not get.
Is that,
Candida, very.
Kind of cheese.
is that kind of cheese?
Candida by Voltaire. He wrote a book about cheese.
Oh,
Voltaire.
did he?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a precursor to the BNP cookbook.
Really?
Prior
Okay.
to the French Revolution in 1774.
I thought Dan Brown mostly wrote
Dan
cheese.
Brown, yes.
Yeah.
So he's a cheese penis pervert. Is that right?
Cheesy
Basically, I
penis
mean,
pervert.
I don't imagine people who's just there to try and play horseshoe with Swiss cheese in his dick, really. But
Yeah.
it's just, the story is just there because I just want to highlight that journalists should be looking at bigger stories.
Do you think the journalists go into their fridge and basically have a look and see what food products they have?
Probably sounds like it. I mean,
And then look at their own
And then
genitals.
see what they can talk about?
I mean, it's been very food-based, apparently, clear with Nick Griffin's cooking show. and this.
Absolutely, yes.
You know what I mean?
I can't bear it any longer.
No.
You were saying, speaking of fridges,
Fridges.
fridge spam.
Apparently, fridges are the new spammers.
Are they?
Yeah, it's been discovered in a very recent survey that 100,000 spam emails per hour are now being sent by web-enabled domestic appliances, like fridges.
Are they sure they weren't just fridges full of spam?
Spam, 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 ice cream, spam, 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 cheese and spam.
Yeah, so all these emails.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, thank you.
You possessed it. You possessed it for a second.
That's right.
But it's been available.
I was hacked. I was hacked
By
by,
Eric Idle.
by
But-
spammers.
Spammers,
But
yeah.
they reckon then that these fridges are just ruining the earth. Is that right?
Well, apparently, botnet is the
Technical
robotic
term.
spamming thing that spams everyone. It sends you these things that says there is £28 million in a bank account.
It's Pakistani, is it?
No, he's from Nottingham. Yeah. All you have to do is send me your bank details, and all that crap is now coming from fridges. They're being relayed throughout the internet by internet-enabled domestic appliances.
Oh.
You're being spammed by fridges.
Why are
what's
fridges
next?
internet
Microwaves?
Exactly. What
Dishwashers?
next? What next?
What
You
next?
know, what next? Your Hoover will be sending you requests and stuff about Viagra.
It's
you know.
PC gone mad.
It's absurd.
literally a PC gone mad. Spam.
It
yeah,
is.
all right.
I went to the fridge to check my burgers, and they're off. They're off. Lidl,
a little.
Tesco, and all other shopping.
That's what we like a topical
They're
news.
horse- they're
Yeah,
horse-
that happened
yes.
last year.
As long as there's a food pun in there somewhere.
My mum's got a body of a 16-year-old.
Really?
Keeps it in the fridge.
Here now.
Oh, my mother was a redhead. Oh,
Was she?
No hair, just a redhead. Oh. Sorry. Yeah,
Speaking of cheesy.
yeah. Fromage.
Fromage à la fraise.
Quattro formaggio.
Oh, Roger Lloyd Pack died, didn't he?
Trigger.
Trigger.
Dave.
Yeah.
His shows are being shown on Rodney. I mean, Dave.
I see.
Yeah, see, that's sad.
The trigger broom theory, where you change the component parts of an item. Is it still the same
So the
object?
same object, we changed the head 10 times
Yeah.
and the handle 14 times,
Yeah.
still the same item.
Yeah. And it was called the ship of theses, was originally done, and is actually used in psychology now.
What's it called? A ship of theses.
Yeah. No, not feces. Theses.
Ship of theses.
Yeah.
Wasn't she on Big Brother?
Yeah.
Is it something you can wear?
Ship of theses.
Yeah. It's actually a scientific book that was written about a ship that had all its. If it had all its component parts taken away and put back again, is it the same ship? And now they call it the trigger broom theory. You didn't know that, did
That's
you?
amazing. We know the human body sheds skin every 3 days, so
Your
basically
whole cell
whole body.
structure resets
So
every
in 4
10
days' time, you'll
years.
be a different person.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Thank God for that.
How do I know you're really here?
I don't know.
Because he just prodded his arm.
Yeah. You could be in bed somewhere, you could be in Wales mining or something.
You just touched him again.
No whole Welsh people mind.
Or
And is this all a hologram?
You could be a hologram, Matrix.
lovely cold sea. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Over by Swansea.
Isn't it lovely?
Why are you doing the Paul Daniels impression?
Look, it's Paul Daniels today.
You got a story about Paul Daniels?
Now, don't laugh about this. This is it. Paul Daniels' house has been flooded.
Oh.
Why are you laughing at that? This is
Can't he hold back
a most
water with his
beloved
magic
magician.
powers?
Yeah.
Now, apparently, he lives in Berkshire. He lives on the Thames. Henley.
He's
Apparently,
asking for it then, isn't he?
yeah.
Then he has to finish his
Yeah,
story.
his house was flooded. TV magician Paul Daniels trapped at home. Fortunately, he's trapped. He's surrounded by gallons of flood water from the Thames. He can't get out. And it's on the bulker belt. Now that's tragic, isn't it? For example, he came down the other day and his knees were covered in water, all up to his knees in water.
How big was it? Lynch?
And he walked down the kitchen and there was a big badger there, a big beaver.
Right, okay.
Until he realised that he closed up his eyes and he changed into his wife, David McGee.
Apparently she has got a big...
Optical illusion like David Blaine. Now what I want to know is why didn't he use his magical powers to lift the house, levitate it, like he does on TV? That's not magic.
You know what I would have done?
What?
I'd have gone like this up my sleeve and pulled out loads and loads of that absorbent tissue.
Exactly. Why did you do
Mop it all
that?
up.
Some magician he
Mopping
is.
it all up, you know?
Why did he call it Ali Bongo?
Well, what I want to know is, did his wig survive?
Apparently his wig's doing panto in Brighton somewhere.
All right, so his wig left him.
His wig and had an amicable divorce.
Yeah.
Have you noticed he's completely bald now?
Is he?
He's done a really thorn.
You know, he was on the television in the 80s, and then he went to America and rebuilt his career.
He did.
And then we never heard of him again.
Because
apart from the flood story.
Because he was supplanted by other magicians like Penn and Teller, who are much more bold.
Or better.
Yes.
Bold.
Wasn't he involved in some kind of fracas
bold.
with
Biological
a girl,
bold.
allegedly, Paul Daniels?
No.
No.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He was almost put into the DLT.
I think he had to marry Debbie
Yes.
because of some impropriety.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly. And he said, no, I'll do right by you, Debbie. And
I did, of course, only married him for his good looks and manner.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with his millionaire
nothing to
status.
do with his multi-millionaire.
Now that's magic.
His lovely house in Henley.
Oh, is it busy? Let's get busy. Sorry, Sooty.
She's a real magician, though, 'cause she's making all his money disappear.
Sooty.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yeah, she is.
Ooh.
She's the real magician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's done well for herself.
Considering she was a no one, then yeah.
She was the very lovely Debbie.
Was she a no one?
She was his assistant.
His assistant.
Yeah. And without her, he didn't have an act.
You forget that he was on TV for years
See, a
and years.
divorce lawyer would argue that she was at least 50% of his fame, you know?
Yeah. But they never get divorced.
Yeah, but-
They're like a happily married couple.
well,
Yeah, but you
'cause
see,
he
if I was-
spent all the money divorcing him in the wig.
Yeah. He's lost his finger, do you know that?
Who?
Paul Daniels.
Lost his finger.
Apparently,
What, the magic trick or what?
I think he was shot by
Are you
Sooty.
sure he didn't just fool you with the thumb that comes down?
He was shot by Sooty, Matthew Corbett company. Sooty shot him accidentally with a pellet, and his finger was.
No, it
It's
wasn't.
true. He's got half a finger.
Sooty shot my finger.
Yes.
That's as bizarre as Fred.
Bit of finger banging from Sooty.
Isn't it?
It's true. We can research that.
Whatever happened to Matthew Corbett? All these people. Art Attack. Remember Art Attack? Neil Buchanan.
No, he's dodgy, isn't he?
No,
Allegedly.
Funny enough, Neil Buchanan has actually set up a heavy metal band since
Has he?
retiring from Art
Has
Attack.
he?
He's now a heavy metal guitarist.
Well, all his posters are like, it's Death Face Super Kill or whatever they call it. It's starring Neil Buchanan from Art Attack. And then like the Art Attack.
What happened to these people? Matthew
Pat
Sharp.
Sharp?
Pat Sharp. Where is Pat Sharp?
Well, look at what happened to the Chuckle Brothers, yes?
Oh,
they
yeah,
they
both of them
basically
lads.
saved,
They saved
what?
a young girl.
From being
Diddled.
Diddled.
Well done to them.
Yeah, and,
Well done.
Yeah, so
They're the least
Allegedly.
likely. Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah,
They're the
allegedly.
least likely people, but they're
Oh, we
obviously.
were
And
here.
all I said
Time?
was, hey, watch him.
watch it.
that was
They
it.
said, pull it.
I was going to say,
From me to
said,
you.
to me,
To me. To you.
To you.
To you. To me.
To me. Yeah, and that saved a young girl's dignity.
Good.
what their
So-
sheer annoyance
I've always
made
liked
the
the
guy run
Chuckle
away.
Brothers.
So good on the Chuckle Brothers.
Yeah.
The second best thing to come out of Rotherham since Jive Bunny.
Did they save anyone from getting attacked?
Who, Jive Bunny?
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah. That's
good enough for me.
Possibly
Good enough for
Jive
me.
Bunny was in, what's that children's hospital called? Great Ormond Street. Possibly one day, Jive Bunny was standing in the ward on Great Ormond Street and Jimmy came walking down the ward.
Stoke Mandeville, you're
Stoke
told.
Mandeville, you'll see. Oh, as it happens.
Absolutely,
With
yeah.
some sweeties and a
Yes.
rubber puppet.
A puppet.
You know?
Show what you want.
And all of a sudden, Jive Bunny appeared and went, "Come on, everybody! Come on, everybody!"
But he is still
Jimmy
allegedly.
is a did.
Yeah.
Jimmy is a did. Jimmy is a did. Jimmy.
But he used to go to the morgue and have necrophilia sessions. didn't he?
Apparently.
Well, Jay Bunny.
Dave Bunny, yeah,
Yeah,
with,
see,
with Jimmy.
The bizarre thing about the Savile thing is he starts off, he's touched people. We all saw that on telly in the 70s, so we know that's true. We know he's a lecherous, inappropriate old uncle. But the next thing you know, he's raping people. Then he's fucking corpses. He's got a fixation with dead bodies. Then he's part of a demonic, satanic corpse fucking paedophile ring.
Which goes to the highest levels of
And
government.
then, no, this comes next. Then he's best friends with the Queen's cousin, Lord Louis Mountbatten. Allegedly, who has introduced him to the royal paedophile ring, which also includes the government, which is Ted Heath, allegedly. And he is Procurer General of Children for the Royal Stroke Government Satanic Demonic Dead Child Paedophile Ring.
So technically he's not a very nice man, is he?
No.
Well, according to, the way that the rumour has grown from Jimmy touched my bum to Jimmy fucked my dead child with the royals and the government.
And the demons.
Yes.
Absolutely.
With, some spiritual entities joined in, as it happened.
Do you think the media are taking it a bit too far?
Well, I think the danger is, right, the man's been dead for a few years, okay? So he can't defend himself. And he was questioned when he was alive.
Yes, but 6 times.
And
He was questioned 6 times.
6 times.
And he was arrested 6 times. And he got away with it.
Well,
That's
I don't
my
know, because
opinion.
you can read the transcripts of those police interviews. They're on the internet, and the allegations were, oh, this young lady says you kissed her, and you put your tongue in her mouth when you kissed her. So it's hardly like rape or corpse fucking or demon worshipping with Ted Heath and the King.
It
and
is
Queen.
the gateway to those things, though.
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah, but
So one second,
Of course, if she wasn't willing, then the last thing you want
The
is...
bottom line was, in this country, there's a judicial process, and he's dead. So, however many investigations you have, nobody's going to be able to charge him with anything.
Sure.
Why spend millions of pounds of our money investigating a dead man? Because you're never going to charge him with
I'm
anything.
surprised at you this, Sean, because you don't really like the police, do you?
No, I'm not a fan of the police at all.
Pleb
Apart
gate-
from Sting. Sting's done wonderful things for the rainforest. Going around with that bloke with a
tantric
CT in his lips.
But you're saying, the Plebgate incident.
Yes, well, that just shows you what the police... Nobody trusts the police anymore.
We're fucked, aren't we? If this doesn't work next week, we're done, aren't we?
Well,
Yes, basically.
but we've got to,
We've got we've got to pull out our A game.
No,
Yeah.
Luckily, we've got two
The
brothers
thing
here.
is, it's nobody's fault. It's basically the audience
fault.
don't think that it's Everybody wave to the audience. Go on.
Hello, audience.
Hello, audience.
Hello, audience member.
You don't like this, do you? No.
Wherever you are.
We don't
No,
like
because
it
it's not about consciousness.
For a while.
But we
They'd be
given
more
the free-
interested in the discussion we just had about
That's what I mean.
Illuminati
They
and,
would.
Yeah, but
New
That's what I
World
thought about.
Order
They mentioned lizards
and
and things.
Freemasonry.
The conversation-
The pull of the show.
conversation-
It's supposed to be like a drunken and rambling.
What we plan to do is sort something out, and maybe we'll still record some stuff, and then we'll put them through in the next couple of weeks. But today is probably the last show we're going to do. At the moment.
So let's make it count.
Yeah.
Always look on the bright side of
Isn't that
life.
like the most popular funeral songs?
So funny. Cannabis tourism. Kiri.
Yes, mate.
Kiri, you've got a lovely story about cannabis tourism.
I do. Cannabis.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. Well, you know that now people are kind of waking up to the fact that marijuana is not exactly dangerous in the sense that alcohol is actually more dangerous than marijuana.
Yeah.
And the fact that actually a lot of states in the US are legalizing marijuana now. I believe Washington has done it, so Barack Obama is technically allowed to smoke pot in the Oval Office if he wants to, because it's legal in Washington.
Doesn't it have to be for medicinal purposes?
Yeah, but it's Obama and, you know.
I think it's Washington State, but not
Is it
Washington
Washington
DC.
State?
I don't think Barack can
I
actually
would
skin
love
out.
that. That'd be brilliant live interviews, just for all Americans.
But there must be people in, trying to figure out the smallest injury you can have
Of course.
that lets you get
Of
medical
course they are.
marijuana.
Have you
kind
been
of with the
injured in an
nail and a
accident?
hammer on
Yeah,
the
of course they are.
Glaucoma?
Yeah.
I only have to get a tiny bit of cancer and I can have all the weed I'd like.
But basically, one of the states that has legalized it, Colorado, have been putting out ads because they've. I love this story. So basically, Colorado have gone, we've legalized it, and they now have a huge influx of tourism due to the fact that everyone's going over to Colorado now legally smoking marijuana. So they've now put adverts out saying, come to Colorado, weed is legal. But apparently now they're not allowed.
Is that actually what the term is?
Pretty much.
Come to Colorado, the weed is legal.
It's a very catchy slogan.
Well, you know,
Come to Colorado, the weed is
it's
legal.
the Rocky Mountain state, isn't it? So it's mooses, mountains, and weed.
Yeah.
But apparently they are now taking the advertising off the boards in Colorado and around the whole state of TV for a whole year. Because they don't think that it's sustainable for tourism.
Well, look at Amsterdam.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Holland.
Well, yes.
I'll give you a case in point.
But apparently they're running out of marijuana in Washington. Not like running out, like, oh, there's only like a bit here and there, but it's done very, very well in terms of they've made a lot of money. And apparently the air's very thin because it's high up, so you get very
Do you know
stoned.
what, though? The government are missing a trick here because 10 years ago I quit smoking. But
That is a
11 years ago, that's a very clever
They missed
trick.
that.
That's magic. 11 years ago, I was buying a packet of fags, it was like £5. And £4 of that was going straight into the treasury, right, to fight illegal wars in countries where people of colour live. Yes, exactly. So if they did the same if they legalised marijuana, for example, and taxed it, they would take all these dealers off the street, you get me, and they would get a nice little bit of money for themselves.
They would.
Yeah,
They wouldn't have to tax.
And spend it wisely on more
this is
marijuana.
There'd be more wars in the Middle East.
Why don't they
There'd be
mix sex with marijuana? Because in Arizona they have
That's
these.
an amazing combination.
well, Holland again, isn't it?
Holland, because they can have these cat ranches where they can have legalized sex.
Well, it's not
Brothels.
actually legalised in there.
It's Arizona. They have these.
Isn't it Nevada?
Nevada, I think it's Nevada. They have these hot houses where men can go
Chicken
have sex.
ranches.
Chicken ranches.
Bunny ranches.
Why not combine that with marijuana dens?
Oh,
And then do two
have a great
days.
time.
It's a great
Just like
time.
Holland, isn't it?
But you know these adverts, they could have, come to Colorado and jack up.
Yeah.
Come to Colorado.
Smoke some weed and have a turbo wave in Colorado.
I've been a clip. Bong and a blitz.
Yeah.
I love it. No, I mean, I totally agree that I think that in a weird sense that, we shouldn't actually legalise marijuana for the fact that they'll tax it and then make shitloads of money off it.
But also, it would take the criminal element off it. You know,
would.
the whole gang sort
It
of,
would.
dealers and stuff.
It would. But
I mean,
then-
an issue there is that there are plenty of people in jail that have been arrested for, marijuana possession.
And in Colorado, they've decided that since it's legal, they're going to start advertising.
Oh,
And,
that's nice.
It's very nice, isn't it? And it's funny enough, they've obviously brought over loads and loads of new tourists who would just love to smoke marijuana legally without being arrested. And the funny thing is, they've had these adverts up for a while since they legalised marijuana, and now they've had to take them down.
What type of adverts were they, though?
Well, there were various. I'm sure there were.
Were people skinning up?
it was
doing blowbacks or bongs?
Get the bongs out. I think there were billboards, posters and everything else. I think that once you say marijuana is legal, I don't think you need much advertising. I think people are on
They
it.
should legalise heroin. Maybe have people injecting themselves. Skagging up, doing all that.
I wouldn't quite agree.
Cocaine, maybe a few
Do you know what,
lines.
though? The heroin tourists
Yeah.
aren't good tourists. A, because they've got no money.
Yeah.
And B, because they can't travel very far.
All right. Okay.
The stoners still have a bit of
yeah.
coin.
Yeah.
And they've got a budget for tourism.
Well, they've got budget for munchies.
They've got budget. If there's weed involved, they can afford to go. This is how Amsterdam has sustained its tourism
And
industry.
because of prostitutes, not being
Prostitution, yeah. I mean, if you live in a shit, horrible, awful, wet, damp place that's flat and nothing's happening, you've got to introduce some excitement.
Yeah.
A bit of sex and a bit of drugs. You've got to get the punters in somehow.
Yeah, but America's
Colorado, Boulder,
Exactly.
What do you do in Colorado? Mountains.
listening, Norwich?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Snowdonia, are you listening?
Yeah.
Yeah, can imagine that.
Yeah.
Crack cocaine. Come to Snowdonia.
The interesting thing is that Rich Grant, the spokesperson for Visit Denver, has said that they want to see if the tourism based on cannabis is actually sustainable. Which I think it is, considering Amsterdam's kind of
Not
success.
Richard E. Grant, is it?
No.
Oh, Ulysses E. Grant.
Oh, Ulysses E.
Ulysses S. Grant.
Well,
Oh, sorry, S. Grant. Sorry.
Yes.
Or Hugh Grant.
But
Or Hugh Grant. Or Rent Rebate Grant.
Or Eddie Grant. I don't want to dance with my baby no more.
That was a class. You slept
Who
with
smoked weed?
Yes.
You slept with a lot of prostitutes, haven't you? You haven't had sex properly, have you?
No. But my imaginary blow-up doll,
Oh, yeah.
Eustace.
Yeah.
Imaginary.
Yes.
We've all had Eustace.
No.
She's been used by us.
But what's your opinion on this drug taking?
I think they're missing a trick. They should combine the sex element of human nature.
Yeah.
So, for example, I think in Nevada, they have these cat ranches where men can go and have great sex
With cats.
with cats and lots of lovely shrews and.
Is that natural? I don't think
natural.
it is.
If you combine, if you
I've
have.
heard of trying to get pussy, but that's ridiculous.
Have like a massive shopping mall where you can have sex, marijuana, finger bangs, all kinds of things like that.
Turbo wanks?
Yes,
What's a
herbal wanks.
turbo wank?
Well, a friend of mine,
A friend of yours.
a friend of mine,
Yes.
obviously not me,
Yeah.
went on Holland to a business trip many years ago before the Euro came in,
Yeah.
and was walking back to his hotel one night through the red light district, as you do, and was approached by various.
Accidentally, which is 10 miles away from where we actually
Well,
live.
you know, but it's
It's
the,
the other
scenic,
way.
It's the scenic route.
It's a very horny.
And he just
GPS.
heard lots of English voices and thought, oh, I feel at home, I'll follow them.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was approached by various attractive young blonde Dutch ladies, very tall, very blonde and Rubenesque. And they kept propositioning him on his way back to his hotel. And he kept saying, no, sorry, I'm married. No, sorry, I'm married. No, sorry, I'm married. And they're like, oh, would you like some sex? He's like, no, sorry, I'm married. Would you like some drugs? No, sorry, I'm married.
Is this Sean
And
Connery?
And finally, a very attractive one approached him and he said, oh, Moneypenny, I've been expecting you. And she said, like, I can give you a blowjob. He's like, no, I'm married. I can give you full unprotected sex. He's like, no, sorry, I'm married. He's like, I can give you a turbo wank. And he was like, a turbo wank? What's a turbo wank? She said, well, why don't you come along with me and I'll show you for 20 guilders. So this poor married man went back to her little room and basically squirted a lot of lubricant and went, and I'm like, he's telling me this story. I'm like, he said, Sean, he said, I promise you, if you ever go to Holland, have a turbo wank.
But you put turbo in front of any
Yes.
sexual act, it goes from
It
being
does.
like, seedy to being like some kind of test of physical endurance.
It's like a shit car if you put turbo on the end of it. I've got a De Chevaux turbo.
Yeah, or like
kind of-
washing up liquid.
Turbo.
Very
Yes.
Or Skoda. Turbo.
Skoda. Yeah.
Punto, turbo.
Yeah, turbo wank.
I was in
Clever
Norwich
bit of
once.
marketing
You
there.
were married once?
No, I was in Norwich once.
Oh, Norwich.
I was in Norwich,
Yeah.
and a woman asked me, "Would you like a Blofeld?"
A Blofeld, what's that?
It's like when you stroke someone's pussy in the voice of Donald Pleasance. Hello, darling. She took me back to her place. She pulled down my trousers.
Yeah.
I took my money.
She took your money.
I was stuck in a B&B in Norwich.
A B. You were stuck in the BNP in Norwich.
Yeah.
Doing cookery.
True story, that.
You don't have to peruse the street for that. You just walk into a room and they turn round on the chair. I've been expecting you.
Yeah, there's a bald man with little Donald Pleasance. I've been expecting you, Yasser. How are you?
I didn't order
Do you
this.
expect me to come? No, Mr.
I expect you to die. Were you there?
Really?
Well, you can join us again after the break for part 3.
Six in the bullshit.